So we're going to today talk about some of the problems that I come up when I'm carving. One of the biggest ones I find is, does this look right? This is the thinking I get in my brain. Will it appeal to people? A lot of carvers says, well, you're carving to your satisfaction and to your ability. But to me, to carve something, you've got to put your best effort in, because you do it once, it takes a long time to do it. Like in the case of this dog, it's taken me 2.5, 3 years I think now to do it, and I'm progressing. And when I first started, it was a basic dog. It was just going to be his head. Then I thought, why not just put his body on? Make a body for him, put an extension on. And then the wife says, could you make it hollow in the side so he can take his ashes when he dies? Because he's getting older. So all these things are taken to account. And of course, this carving has grown and grown and grown from the day I started it. People probably laugh, it's taken 3.5 years, but I tell you what, one of the biggest things that stops me from doing the carving is I put the brakes on, and as I said in the beginning, I take a look at it and I say, is this looking right? Is this how people would like to see it too? And that's a big important fact for me, is what people like to see. So that's what I'm trying to prove in this video. Eventually, I dare say that it will look okay, because I know that there will be things that I would have should have included in the beginning. So like I'm putting the pads on his feet, and I had to get a different type of wood, and this wood comes from up the wheat belt, and I've said that in the other videos. I find it a very useful wood because it's dark coloured and all this, and his pads and all that I've added to this. Never had any ideas, that quick one, make it up nice and that's it, finished, bang. But I keep on adding and adding. The next thing just the other day I wondered what it'd look like, or can I carve bone, and then I'll make his claws, and I'll make bone with this. Can I carve it? Can I carve it to look like a tooth or look like a claw? And lo and behold, I can. These Dremel bits really do that well. It smells a little bit when you carve bone, but it's the right tools to do it. So we're going to progress. We'll keep on progressing until we get this baby finished. So hang in there. just bring it up closer. Okay. Well, here's his pads on his foot, and of course that was a big worry. How was I going to do those? So how I settled it is I got each individual pad and placed it on there, the position where I wanted to do it, held it there with my finger, and then I drew around with a pencil, and then I cut down 3mm deep and chisel it all out nice and smooth and flat, and then put it in. So I've done it for all the feet. The other side. So there's a bit of work that goes into that. I think procrastinated on it for about 2 weeks thinking how I was going to do it, and then I said, oh, I'll give it a go. Then how's it going to look? And then, you know, looking at the dog's foot, like it's still alive to see that, we can you know, get an idea roughly how it goes. And I notice that the pads are exposed, fur in between. When clipped back, you can see it's hollowed out. So of course you learn as you go, and this is how you learn to do things. But actually what I want to talk about is what type of machine do you use? Well, you can buy for your husband for Christmas or yourself a Dremel, but there are cheaper ones on the market. And I got this one about 10 or 15 years ago, I think, and it's called a Ryobi. I think it cost me about $120 for this, with the extension and the kit down here. I'll just see if I can get you down there. There it is. I got out local Bunnings store. I don't know if they have got them there, but they don't have cutters. I had an old Dremel and I use their steel cutters. I'll get one of those. But with the Ryobi, they came with this type of cutter, which is diamond, and they work quite well on wood, and so does the other. So you can rough them down with those Dremel ones, and then use these here to finish off. Okay, I'll put you back up there watching. I'm just going to have a little play around. I've got this one in here at the moment. Which is a diamond one, which is a Ryobi cutter. And I'll remove this one, put your key back into there, or your lock, which is just another tip. Go back. It's got variable speed like the Dremel has. You know, 1 and 2, and it's very fast. It gets 24,000 revs. I've got it there roughly where I want it. Like a dentist drill, but don't use it. Like that, that'll be and we'll get you onto the job. Come on, let's go. Lord and Master himself. He's a good boy. Today we're going to insert some nails which have been made out of bone. I'll just go briefly through how I do that and get back to you. A lot of work just goes into the foot, and I do this because I want to do it. You don't have to do it, but I'm doing it. The only problem is when you put the bone in this time, or this early in the piece, I've still got a fair bit of work. I could scratch myself when I'm lifting it up. I've got to be careful. But anyway, at first you can see that I have already hollowed out the little sections where they're going to go in, and then I lay up straight, put super glue in that spot, then I add a bit of bone like this piece. I'll put it down there. It's not showing up very good. Let's see if we can get a bit of there. So we can hold that up a little bit better. So you get a very good idea of what I'm doing. There's a little bit of bone. Okay, there's my collection of bones. Lamb's bones, I think they were. I've had them sitting for about 2 years there now, because I thought I'd try a little bit of bone work and all that. Anyway, here's a piece of bone that I've been taking all those teeth out of, and there's a jeweller's saw I use. I don't know if you can see the blade there. It's very fine and you can cut bone with it. I only got one of these, but I can adjust the frame, so I hope I don't break it anyway. But it seems to be working very well. That's what's called jeweller's saw. Cut it out a little bit longer, then flatten off the side which sits into the hollow section, then I round it off, a little bit of trimming, and then I just glue it in. Doesn't take long. Surprised me. First time I've ever done this. But this piece of bone I'll get all those claws out of. I've already done 4 and taken off a little bit. So what you got to watch out for is, of course, it gets hollow in here, so you cut along the thick edge of the bone. Okay, let's carry on. I'll go and shape one, I'll get it all into shape, and then I'll show you what I do. Cheers. Okay, when I'm putting the hollowed out section in there for the bone to go into, I use this very fine rotary tool. It's a very fine thing. It's probably about 1/16 on the end there. Something like a dentist drill. And That works quite nice, a bit rusty. Been around for a few years until I salvaged it. I found it and I just hollowed that out. I'll give you a little bit of a demonstration. I've got a little bit more to hollow out there. Goes up a little bit. That one there, this one here needs to go a little bit deeper. Okay. Now I'll change the little Dremel or little reamer to this one here, a diamond impregnated thing there, and it cuts very fine. It's very good for cutting the bone. So I'll change that. I'll show you a little bit of a demo. I think I can. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll just show you what I'm doing. There. I'm going to hang on to that bit of bone. Try not drawing away my nails, my fingers, and just gently go across the top and just don't push hard, just go for it. And it's the flat part. So where will this one fit? Right there. Well, it fits pretty good there. Pretty good there. With the nails, they're not fully exposed, so they're sort of covered up by the fur over the top of the toe, or his finger, you might as well say. Dog's got 4 nails, but he's got another one in the back of here. But I won't show that one. You probably have seen them. They are on the side somewhere, and that was virtually their thumb. Okay, so they had these 4 here, they were fingers, and the thumb was up the back here. So I didn't know how many toes there, but once you start looking at things, you find out actually how animals, virtually we're all the same. Just time has changed where the position of those fingernails pads are on there. Just put that down and we'll just talk about that. And actually you might notice Oh, probably on the top one there. If I go up there a little bit there, you can see how I've included the white of wood, the sapwood of these cut throughs that I've done on a branch. Okay, and that's what the inlay is of these things. It's a very hard wood, and you can find this out in the dry areas in the wheat belt. That type of wood. All this wood here that I've got here is these additives like this are all from branches that I've picked up off the ground, and which a lot of that's still happening up there in the wheat belts, because you got trees. They seem to have sections of where they do grow the trees, but it's still affected by the wind, and of course the salmon gums and all that. They get blown around a bit, strong winds, and drop the branches. So there's always plenty of wood up there on the ground. And these it's not a true replica of his foot, but you know, it gives you an idea, and that's all I want to do, is give you an idea and the simplicity of how these pads here, which are, if you look at a human's hand, are these things here. 1, 2, 4, somewhere here, 4. How's that go? Something like that. Yeah. We only have 3 because we're lazy bastards. We haven't developed that other one because we don't use it so much. Maybe in older people, generations gone by, that they did have those pads there. Corns or whatever they call them. And of course the colour variates in this section there. So you take all these details in and you can add it to the story of the carve, which I do. And it's a lot of progression. Do you know what that is? Piece of wood? I'll get you to work that out. Let me know in your answers down below when you subscribe to my channel. And finally we get to glue it together. I find that this Tarzan grips is a very user-friendly super glue. There's super glue, and it's got the Tarzan grips things here, which is a slower drying super glue. There's a Tarzan grip feel to it, but it's a really strong glue, and I find that it's exceptional for this type of purpose. There's other super glues that are good for hardening up the wood where it can chip on the edges here. Okay, I've put some super glue on there because it's starting to crumble. Oh, there we have. No glue left. Soaked in. Which is another good property, but that surprised me. Maybe I need to be a bit quicker. Okay, you can see the claws in the other foot I've already put in. Okay, this one here. just put in. This one here, still drying. As I said, I'll go and cut another one. You can watch me do that. Okay, we'll cut the bone. Nice steady strokes. It's got a smell about it. Not burning leather. See if I can. Worry about it. So in my mind I already have the size of how long I want it and how thick I want it. Jeweller's knife, you're not supposed to slice through it, just gently do it. And there you have it. A bit crooked. Of course, one of the biggest dramas about fiddling with these little bits of bone is you drop them. So you got to go down there onto the ground and have a look. And lucky I just found that one again. Let's see where you can zoom in. There it is. Lucky this time. Okay, what I've done here, I've got a piece of bone and then I've cut out the shape for using the triangles, which is a good thing in carving, and you come out with a tooth. And that's probably about the largest tooth that I have, or sorry, largest nail for his foot that I have to use. That's the one with the black on. Can you see the black? So then in my forming of that, I've got a very small nail that I've got to make, and that one in the back there will fit in perfectly. So I've killed two birds with one stone here. So what I do now is I'll remove all the stuff here on the outside, and then I'll form it while it's sitting on the bone with my Dremel on my tool. Okay, there you are. And that's what you can do if you think about it. And carving is all made up of triangles anyway. Right, cheers.